Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday, Thursday. Thank you for joining me today on July the 17th. I'm going to be doing a complimentary webinar, which is being recorded, so it will be able to be downloaded. And the subject of today is decoding the FCA's 2025-2030 strategy and what it means for firms. We won't have time for question and answers on this webinar just because the way it's set up, but you'll see my contact details here on this slide, and you will see them also at the end. So if you want any information or you'd like to get in touch, please do not hesitate to contact me. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Nicola Christofides, and I'm a director here at ComplyPort. I'm the head of financial crime and operational resilience. What makes me qualified to talk about the FCA and their strategy for the next 5 years? I'm not going to give you a rundown of my CV, but just a few highlights. I'm a qualified lawyer. I did work at the FCA for 10 years in a variety of roles, ending up in the chief of staff role, working with the chief exec and the executive there, before I moved to Barclays, where I was the global head of governance, risk and reporting in compliance and financial crime function. I was there for 10 years, and then after maternity leave, I left shortly after and I joined consultancy and ComplyPort. So that's just a rundown of my history with regards to work experience. But lastly, working in consulting, we have a very collaborative working relationship with the FCA, and the nature of my role. I've attended many recent closed meetings with the FCA with regards to their strategy and vision for the next 5 years, and also with our collaborative working relationship we have with them, with our clients. We have a lot of touch points and we have a lot of communications. So hopefully I will be able to communicate some of their vision and their thoughts of what I have learned and I've listened to over the last few months, and it will be helpful to you as well. So the agenda today, I'm not going to speak, but this is what we're going to be covering. Hopefully it will just give you a synopsis and also a high level view of their strategy and what they're thinking and the changes in their mindset that they're going to have for the next 5 years. So the UK financial services, some people, when I speak to them, I'm a ex-regulator. A lot of people have quite some gripes about them. And this slide here is just to put into perspective the financial services, the industry in the UK, and then the regulator's role. So the financial insurance services sector adds 208.2 billion to the UK economy, and that's billion. And the employees, they employ 1.1 million people, and with 2.4 million, including related services, 2/3 who are outside London. So huge in employment with financial services. And then we go to tax. So alongside the professional services, the sector generates 110 billion in tax annually. And then with regards to exports as well, so our international trades in 2023, financial services exports were worth 91.8 billion. So that's 98.1 billion, creating a 73.2 billion trade surplus. So all of this in the financial services, we have a regulator that employs approximately 5,000 people. Some people are misinformed, or they think that it's a government body. It's not. It's an independent public body, and the fees that you pay is what basically keeps them alive and keeps them kicking, and they're accountable to Parliament, as you probably well know. It regulates around 42,000 firms, 42,000 firms, and supervises 41,000 financial risk, the prudential side. So many must know we've got the FCA and we've got the PRA. So we've got the FCA conduct regulator, and then we've got the PRA, the prudential regulator. And its strategic goal is to ensure markets function well. So that's just a brief overview of the financial services. Now, what is the FCA's objectives? The operational objectives are to protect consumers obviously the heart, ensure the integrity of the UK financial system, promote competition in consumers' interests, and advance competitiveness and economic growth wherever possible. Now, these are their operational objectives. They've not changed that much over the years, and they're still very, very prevalent for the FCA of what they're working to and their staff. Now, like I said, I've been in quite a few closed meetings. I've had the privilege of being in them where they talk about their strategic vision over the next 5 years. I've listened to their COO, their CEO, a lot of the executive directors, and they really, they're really behind this. Things are changing with the FCA. I really believe that as well. From being there to what they believe now and the work that they're doing, obviously they have more workforce. It's doubled from when I was there over 10 years ago. We have more breadth within the country, like geographical as well. And so they're really creating a robust workforce in order to actually meet this vision that they want to achieve in the next 5 years. Now, the organization aims to deepen trust, rebalance risk, support growth, and improve lives through a clear, ambiguous strategy. Now, those four statements there, you will see these a lot in the presentation, and it is what the FCA keeps on repeating in all their promotional material, all their comms. And they're the words, every time that I've gone to the meeting, that's the ones that are up on the screen. And they really, really are, that's their vision for the next 5 years, and they really want that embedded. Now, their key priorities are helping consumers, fighting financial crime, supporting economic growth, and becoming a smarter regulator. And to succeed, the organisation emphasises the need to be open, curious, resourceful, and collaborative. Just pointing for me on financial crime, I know myself having, I'm the head of financial crime here at Compliant Port. Our clients that have been seen an exponential rise in financial crime with regards to supervisory visits, information requests, thematic reviews. It's really high up on the agenda. Over the last 3 years, this Section 166 requests have been for financial crime have been the highest. So the section of 166 in that sector, the panels have been financial crime as the highest, and they see that for the next 3-4 years. Obviously, with the criminals and the sophistication of them, it's high up on their agenda. And something that I've also seen is the collaborativeness of the FCA with our authorization applications, or just all round supervision. They are more collaborative. They let us, speak to them more clearly, and they also want us to be more and more and more collaborative with them. So the strategy builds on progress that's been made over 3 years, where higher standards were set and the internal performance has been approved. So the strategic vision over the next 5 years, the vision to 2030, the aim is to deepen trust and rebalance the approach to risk in order to support growth and improve lives. So why that matters, why trust matters. So whether it's consumers making financial choices or businesses investing in the UK markets, confidence in the system and in the regulator is essential. They want consumers to trust them. They want them that they're doing the best for them. They really believe that. And the trust enables people and firms to make informed risks, which are necessary for the better returns, economic growth and higher living standards. Now, there's a shift in the risk thinking. The focus needs to move from fearing the risks of action to recognising the opportunity of cost in action. And now that higher standards have been established, it's time to rethink how they're going to collectively view the risk. And the goal with that is that there's a balanced risk approach, that the UK can create a stronger, more confident financial system that fuels long-term prosperity. Now, the 2030 vision from the FCA, as I've said before, it's to deepen trust, rebalance the approach to risk, support growth, and improve lives. Now, firms, what does this mean for you? What does it mean for firms? It means that they want you to play an active role in achieving this, and they really mean this. They want you to prioritize good outcomes for consumers. They want you to embrace the innovation and be responsible for risk taking and operating with transparency and integrity. Now, we're going to touch on some of these points and what it means for you. And the FCA is using real-time data and analytics to spot risks earlier and to intervene sooner for firms. And what does it mean for you? So what they've said and what I've heard of being there and listening to them, there is going to be greater scrutiny on your business models. There's going to be greater scrutiny on your conduct and on your systems. So, you really need to make sure that everything that, it's reviewed, it's signed off, that with regards to your conduct, whether it's financial on a non-financial misconduct, that you're really looking at it and those are responsible and accountable for the firm have it at the forefront of their mind. They've also said that there's going to be less warning before regulatory action. So whereas before they may have given you warning, might have had letters before they were going to do visits, letters before information requests, that they're going to act. They're going to act now. They have more workforce. They're putting their resources into areas of supervision and enforcement in order to do this. And they've stressed so much in all the meetings I've been to that there needs to be strong internal governance and controls. It's really important, that you need to be proactive in this and not reactive when they come knocking at the door. So the growth and responsibility side of it. So what the regulator wants is they want firms to help drive UK competitiveness, but not at the cost of the consumer harm or the financial instability. And what does this mean? What does this involve? So it's encouraging innovation and investment. It's taking informed risks while managing the downside of impact and avoiding the trap of risk aversion and stifled opportunity. Now, what does deeper trust mean? What does it mean? It means higher standards. How? So, what they want is firms are expected to earn and maintain trust. They want you to earn trust from your customers, from your clients, that also from the markets, and also earn trust from the regulator. Prin 11, being open and honest with the regulator, all of you would take conduct rule training where you have to be open and honest with the regulator. They are being more collaborative. They are being, it's not the police culture as what maybe it once used to be. They want you to be open with them. They want you to be honest with them. And this goes beyond compliance. They want firms to demonstrate integrity, fairness, and accountability in all that you do. And I know that's, it's a huge statement, but they really, really believe that, in the vision going forward for the next 5 years, they want firms to focus on this and they want to help you do that as well. And they really want consumers to feel confident that they're getting a fair deal. And firms must be able to prove it. When they come asking, you must be able to prove that consumers are feeling confident and they are getting a fair deal. Now, what is the implication of that? What does it mean for you as firms? They've said that the scrutiny on your culture is going to be high. The scrutiny on your conduct is going to be high. And if they feel that it falls short, the outcomes will intensify, whether that be breaches, Section 166s, fines, it's going to be higher. It's going to be raised. Now, also, they're asking for a rebalanced approach for risk. So what they're saying is not just about managing the risk of your firms, but also recognizing the opportunities lost through inaction. Like I've said, don't wait. Don't be reactive. You need to be proactive. And firms should feel empowered to be innovative and take well-managed, informed risks that help grow and deliver long-term value. And the regulator said that it will support responsible risk taking, especially when it benefits consumers and the economy. and it wants to support you. It's having that collaborative relationship that I've been speaking about. And they have been talking about it. And if you listen to, any of the executive directors or Nicola, the CEO speaking, they really, really say that they want to be collaborative in order to support you, in your risk taking when it benefits consumers and the economy. Now, supporting the growth and not just controlling harm. Regulation is no longer about just preventing failure. It's also about enabling progress. And that's where I feel that the massive change has happened. When I was there, over 10 years ago, the regulators were seen very much as just preventing firms from failing, being there, supervising, making sure it's compliance. It's changed so much now. And when you listen to them, it's all about them enabling you to make progress within your firms and in your market, in the market. And the FCA wants to foster a financial system that fuels investment, competition, and innovation while still protecting consumers. And that's one of their badges that they say in a lot of their communication. And I'll just repeat that. They want to foster a financial system that fuels investment, competition, and innovation while still protecting consumers. And they believe that firms need to contribute and to a thriving competitive market, which they want to encourage and support. And that's what they mean. When we decode it, that's the implication for firms. They really want to support you in, being competitive. Now, the FCA will assess firms based on the real world outcomes they deliver, not just the policies they write. And this is really important. And I have heard them said that they focus on outcomes over processes. So there's no point having all of these policies and procedures written down and they're excellent and they meet all the standards, your regulatory obligations, if actually the outcomes don't meet that. So if you have a policy, make sure it's embedded, make sure your staff know the procedures, make sure that it's up to the standard of where if the FCA come in, they would be able to complete those procedures and the policies, which states, they both marry up. And it means that there's a stronger emphasis on data testing and continuous improvement. So that is about your sample testing, your audits, your MI, and the continuous improvement of you as a firm reviewing everything, making sure that you're continuously improving in all your processes, your policies, and making sure that you have health checks from external suppliers to make sure that you are actually meeting your regulatory obligations. Don't wait and be proactive, be proactive with that, ask people to come and help you if you don't have any audit functions yourselves. And firms, they've said they need to understand the evidence of how they deliver value to the customers over time. So the data that you have, how are you delivering value for money for your customers? It's something that you and your senior management should be reviewing and something you should be discussing in your strategic goals as well. Now, the FCA have said that they're going to be more proactive in their supervision. And this, I've said that they've actually assigned more resources to that area. And it's something that they're looking to do in the next 5 years, especially with regards to the objectives that I said at the beginning, one of them being financial crime. And what they've said is that expect faster, more data-driven and regulatory responses. They acknowledge that sometimes it takes a while for them to get back to you. It takes a while for them to conduct thematic reviews or a while for them to complete, their supervisory visits and their outcomes. And they are working hard to make sure that that is faster and they expedite the process. That they want to say that they are going to put greater pressure on firms to identify and address issues before the FCA intervenes. So, if they notice something and they say that there's a gap, they're going to ask you that, the timelines and the deadlines are going to be a lot shorter for you to actually make sure that you have addressed those issues before the FCA intervened. Maybe, now there's, a couple, the gaps and the timelines they give you are going to be shortened. They want to do real-time monitoring. And the readiness to engage with the regulator is critical. They want you to be open and honest, but also respond to regulatory requests quickly, address issues quickly, and meet all the deadlines that they give you. Otherwise, they're saying that they will act. So that's the end of the webinar. I just want to say that all webinar registrants will be receiving recording of the session and a complimentary access to Vika. Vika, she's our compliance AI bot. She's excellent. You will have 23 queries to explore the platform, and no subscription or payment is needed. You will also be able to access this when you get the webinar download. Thank you very much. I hope it's been useful for you. As I said at the beginning, please contact me if you have any questions, or if you want to explore any services that I can offer along with the team, health checks, governance reviews, audits. We are here to assist you to ensure that you are ready for any regulatory request that comes your way. I hope you have a good Thursday, and thanks very much for joining.